Hi, it's Kathy from Raven Vintage. We are going to make a journal from start to finish. I'm not sure if it's going to take 2 videos or 3. We're going to use a hardcover book and we're going to do a hidden spine. And I thought if we're going to do a hidden spine, let's do all the hidden things. So let's do hidden pockets and hidden journaling spots, hidden paper clips, hidden belly bands. So it's all about the hidden. I'm using my Easter kit. It's fairly new. It's a beautiful vintage kit. We don't have to do too much of a nod to Easter. It can just be more like a spring journal. And I'll tell you the measurements of the book, but let's get started. I'll show you the papers I've chosen. And then we are going to take this book apart and I'll show you how I do it. Now there's more than one way to do a hidden spine when we get to the assembly part. I'm just going to show you the way that I'm comfortable with and that I have used in the past. So this is what I have. So I have that Easter kit. Here's just some of the background pages and I've printed them on both sides. Oops, not that one. I'll have to get a different one. So just I printed these double-sided randomly. So I have those. I have this cardstock. It's kind of a yellowy brown color. I have this kind of aged paper I picked up at a vintage store. I believe it was just regular copy paper, but it's a little bit yellowed or brown just from age because it's super old. I could tell by the package. I have some tea-dyed paper. Oh, there's another one of my pages that needs to be printed on the other side. Tea-dyed paper, and I've grabbed some scrapbook paper. I'm not sure how much of the scrapbook paper I'm going to use. I have some old envelopes. These are like from a photographer, old envelopes. I have this composition book, and I'd like to use some of these old lined pages in the journal. I have one large ledger sheet, very vintage, and even more so, these are definitely antique. These are from this book that I picked up at a outdoor sale, actually. So these are 1800s. Let me see if I can get the 1892. So I have 2 of those pages from this book. This I picked up thrifting. It just has some beautiful papers in it and poetry. I do believe there's even some, I think there was some, let me take a look. Isn't that gorgeous? Yes. It's like some onion skin type or vellum type of papers in here as well. So I would like to borrow some of those and add those to my journal. We'll use some book pages from this Women's Day book. Has flowers, so that's definitely vintage. Let's see if I can see the year on that quickly. 61. And then I have some music, sheet music. So, or from, yeah, sheet music. So those are the papers I'm going to use. So if you want to do this project with me, put me on pause, go gather some goodies. If you have the Easter kit, great. If you don't, just whatever theme you want. I'll link it below in case you want to follow. But let's just set all of this aside and let's prep our book. So this book measures my typical size. So when I print my sheets, they're 8.5 by 11. So this, you can see, is like the perfect height for a journal. And then it is, if I fold these in half when I print them to make my signatures, it's just kind of my go-to size. That fits perfectly in there as well. So I see we're a little bit tall, but I'm really, when I stand this up, rid of the jacket. When I stand those up, they're actually just exactly the right height. So if need be, I'll trim my papers, but I think I'm going to actually like them kind of sticking up above a little bit. Totally fine with that. Okay, so step one, remove the cover. the jacket if you have one, which I've already done. We'll hang on to that just in case. I don't know that we'll use it at all, but we'll see. So this one just so happens to be yellow, and I haven't made a decision on the cover yet, but since my journal and my papers are yellow, this might come in handy. I might just cover this lovely couple here, cover the spine, I'm not sure. But for right now, what I am interested in is just emptying out the pages. So this is fabulous. Dad, this is to give the TV a rest. I think that says Nancy, 1956. So I'm using a craft knife, and I am simply I want to remove this from its entirety. See how if we pull that back, you have this space in here? So if I cut this down the side on both sides, I should be able to just take out this whole block. That's what I'm aiming for right now. It looks like I need I think I've really dulled my knife here. I need a new blade. Because I've been emptying out books for my envelope project, but I thought it was time to take a break from the envelopes. I'm going to continue doing those, but I wanted to have another video of something a little more, in case you're sick of the envelope projects. Something a little more technical. Technical, but hopefully beginner friendly enough for you to be able to follow. There we go. Just be gentle until you find the spot to get in behind there, like that. Try to preserve this paper as much as you can. It'll just save you lumps and bumps later. So I'm excited. I haven't made a journal for about, I don't know, a month maybe. Well, other than the one I was doing with the, I take that back. I just finished a journal for the Kit Create collab, the sewing theme journal. So I take that back. But I haven't done a hidden spine journal for quite some time. Just can't seem to get this. There it is. I just need to cut through the netting or what is it? This stuff here. I really want to be on this side of it. There we go. So now I've removed the whole block. So you can see how all of these signatures, you can see them in there separately, are glued to that business back here. So we've removed the entire block, and of course we'll save that. We will use the book pages, but this is what you should have left. So I'm just going to trim this up just a little bit without cutting into this back spine. I just want to clean up some of the rough stuff. So I'm going to fold one side back and just trim this by hand with some scissors. Now if you want to lay that down with a knife and a ruler, you could do that too. Just be careful you don't cut we don't want to remove this from this. We want to keep this all as one solid piece. Just tidy it up as best you can. Okay, that's a little bit neater on that side. Same thing here. I'm just going to trim off some of this loose stuff. Yeet, yeet. Okay. So a few other videos you can watch, a few other creators that come to mind for a hidden spine. Roxy Creations and the Paper Outpost. But if you search hidden spine junk journal, you should be, you know, even if you have a favorite creator that you already watch, to see their take on this. But this is mine. So I remember doing this for the first time and following it exactly, and then kind of adapting it the next time I did it, kind of taking some different turns here and there and doing it my own way. So one thing we want to do is kind of reinforce this and just kind of cover that up and make it smooth. I want some fabric that's very thin, very, very thin. So I have this rolled up. It's just a thin cotton blend, super thin material. I'm just going to cut somewhat close to the length I need, and then I just want to make these ends as straight as possible. So I am going to use a rotary cutter. You can use your scissors. I'm going to use a rotary cutter and a ruler. So I'm using my mat, lining this up against the horizontal line, and then my ruler I'm lining up on this vertical line. And just so I can get a straight line. Because I struggle with straight lines, so I need all the help I can get. Okay, so now I am confident that that is pretty straight. Okay. And I just want to use this to cover this up. I do have some overhang. I can cut it later, but I'll be able to trim it straight because I have a straight line to work with. But for now, let's just get this covered up. So you can use like a white PVC glue or Fabri-Tac or your Beacon 3-in-1. I am going to use this Beacon Fabri-Tac today. Oh, the sun's coming out. This is great. So just you don't need to go crazy here. This is not going to do anything more than give you a little more structure to the spine and at the same time smooth out these ridges here. Okay, my apologies, but my phone rang and that's never happened before. Usually I just ignore it, but for some reason it cut my video. So I'm back. So the part you missed while I was trying to ignore the phone call was I just simply laid that down where you saw me glue it. I added a little bit of glue over on the edges, and then I attached that piece of fabric as straight as I can. And what the part you probably that didn't record was I was just again trying to use the lines on my mat to line up my book cover, and then this line down here was part of the reason we've got this overhang, to line my fabric along that line. That would help me lay it down as straight as possible. In theory it worked. I'm gonna quit saying in theory, and I'm gonna make sure I'm in film here, or in center. So that's all you missed, was just me basically laying the fabric on top of that glue. And again, I use Fabri-Tac, Beacon Fabri-Tac, but whatever your glue choice is. Again, this is just going to add a little bit of structure to this spine. It's going to smooth out these ridges here, but it's not going to be sewn. It's not going to hold anything. With just basically a masking is what we're doing right now. So for now, we're going to let that dry. I will trim this off later when it's dry. And let's just set that aside and let's start talking about our signatures, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, so signatures, I would like to do 3. It's kind of my go-to. And let me first count let's do one at a time. Let's start with the printables. Okay, and let me get rid of the ones that don't have something printed on the back. So that was this one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It'd be nice to have 9, but that's okay. I'll print one more so we do. Okay, so while that's printing, I have 9 I will have 9 pages. I'm going to do 3 signatures, so I'm going to divide these into piles of 3. 3 piles of 3. 1, 2, 3. It's like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then the last one we'll put here. So 3 piles of 3. And then we'll just kind of do a formula based on this starting point. Now this is the very end of my stack of tea dyed paper. I need to make some more, so it's not the best. But let's see what we have. I'm just going to spread it out evenly. So 1, 2, 3. And then 1 coming back, 2. I guess that's it, 3. So each signature has 2 pieces of tea dyed paper. Then this kind of aged vintage plain paper. It's like typewriter paper. 1, maybe just 1 each of that. And then what do we have? We'll do on the outside signatures, we'll do one of the small ledgers, and the center one can have the large. Whenever I have an oddball of something, I put it in the center. Like if I only have 2 of something, I use them on the front and the back signature, and then the center signature I use for, I put the oddball stuff there. So again, here, so I have 2 of these envelopes the same, and I have 1 of those, and then this will add somewhere else. Down the road, music sheets, we'll tear out 3, and we'll use just 1 each. Two, 3. There's 1, 2, and 3. So I will probably reinforce those centers with some washi tape or something later, but for now, and I'll pull these strings out after. Oh, there it goes. We're going to use this piece of scrapbook paper to make pockets for our center signature. I like to have something kind of strong in the center of a signature as well, to hold the stitching. Fold away from the valley. Okay. Now, I'm not familiar with this brand, so I don't know how stable it is. This might need a little bit of washi on the back too. in case it splits. I can already see it wants to split. But anyways, let's try that. I like to take a little bit of bulk out of the center of the pocket because of that, you know, all of this folding in between. So I have opened this right back up, folded it in half this way. I want to take a chunk out of here somewhere. So this is my envelope punch board. You can just do this with your scissors and make a notch. I like the look of this. So I get this notch there. See the hole you get? So then when I fold this up, it takes away some of that bulk, so it folds flat, more flat. It's a little bit nicer of a job. Now you can also do your funky bits on your corners here. And that would be this way. Just a little something different. And we could do the same with the sides of the pockets too. So let me just do it this way. There. Just something a little different. A little different there and there. You can take out something out of the center here if you want as well. You only get half of a notch like that, which also helps with this. See how nicely that folds now? Highly recommend you taking some bulk out of the center of your pocket. So we're going to use that in the center. So let's start folding some signatures. We can rearrange papers later if it doesn't make sense. So take this stack, move it to the side. Take this stack, move it to the side. Take this one, and right now we're just going to fold everybody in half. And best thing to do is start with one that you know fits your journal. So in this case, for me, it's my printables. So I'm just going to begin by folding those in half. Just a light crease. Make sure you get your direction the way you want them. Up and down, this is my bottom. And I will have to double check, triple check, because I tend to get things in upside down. And the tea-dyed paper in half. And then this guy in half. Okay, so these ones we know are going to fit the journal. So let's just start with one. So we'll go printable, tea-dyed. And then we'll do, that's kind of plain against plain. So let's do something fun. We'll do another printable, and then this one, and then printable, and a tea dye. So now we want to break that up a little bit. So we will, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to do. So basically every other page. We'll start with that. So this is the outside of the signature. Just look at, see what you have and see what you think would look kind of fun in there. So this, I think I'll do this way. Like this. And some lined paper. Where do we want to put you? I like this side by side. Maybe let's put that towards the center. So you see we're too long, so we can fold those back in just a moment. Same with this guy. So what I'd like to do is something like this is first decide where it's going to go. Kind of like in here. And then one of your sides, line up one of your edges. Okay. And then bring this one in it's going to stick out too far, so bring it in part way for like a tuck. Like that. That's good. And then fold your stuff back up in half. Get in there, get in there. Okay, so this is where we want to try to start doing some layering. So I like, here is a very good spot to layer. So we fold this in half, and then we that there. So we've got some layering happening here. Now you can do them all together and center those if you like. I kind of like the idea of staggering these a little bit. And then I'll bring this one down to see what looks good to you. This music paper's a little tall. We'll have to trim that, I think. And then we have beige on beige. So we're gonna want some color in there. So we can do this as a tall pocket. So this is what I'm going to suggest. Let's just give it a semi-fold, like a third or so. So it wraps around so it has something to stitch to. We're just going to do this. Now that does look more like a fall scene, doesn't it? In a spring book, but it's the colors I like. There. That breaks that up. As for the music paper being too tall, I do want to keep the page number right here. So I've chosen to, if the page number was on the bottom, I would trim from the top, but I'm going to actually trim the bottom. So we can do this with a pencil mark and a trim board, or you can use a knife if you like. I'm going to grab a trim board. I picked this one up thrifting. Let's see how good it is. So I just want just this guy. Oh, not bad when it's quiet compared to my other one. I think I paid $3 for that or something ridiculous. So we have these papers sticking out. Give it a cut. Here's my decal edge trimmer. Let's try that. So we've got that deckled edge. I like that. Well, it's either going to have to be washi tape or glue some paper to it, or put another page in there. So you know what? Let's grab some scrapbook paper, make that a tuck or flip out. We'll see. We'll decide that later. Okay, now that's my center. So that's one signature. Let's hope the next one goes a little bit smoother. We can rearrange and adjust and maybe even add some more goodies after. Let's do the second one. So you want to keep kind of the same format. So okay, so we have a printable and a tea dyed and a printable and a tea dyed and a printable. I think we were going to put this one in the middle, the plain paper, right? So printable, tea dyed, printable, white paper, printable, tea dyed. This guy in the middle, which we're going to end up chopping, so you can do that right now if you like. So that guy's going to need a trim. We have this really pretty stuff, and then you can decide if you want, when you put stuff in sideways, do you want the font this way? It goes this way, like you're reading, like if you were to turn it to the left, You can decide which way you want. I don't, some people, it's important to them to have it all facing the same way. Not me. I don't usually care unless it's like super glaringly obvious. It's a really pretty one. Love bluish and yellow together, or that mauvey color. And then this one, remember, we're going to fold some of it. I like the riggedy edge, so let's fold this one in half. Just guessing. And then we'll do this. Give us an idea. Like that. And where do we want the music sheet? Let's go side by side. Put you in here. And same thing. Trim off the bottom. Do we want deckled edge? Sure, why not? Let's do deckled edge. Okay, and then this center signature has this guy in the middle. The very middle of the journal is going to have this bigger pocket. And then we have this one. Okay, so let's see. We can layer that. That would be pretty. So if I have a little bit of the tea dyed showing. I'm just going to center this. I'm going to wrap that around for now. And then I have this guy like that, layering. Come over here, and it can be a back tuck like that. So again, I folded it just so you can see some layering happening. And then this guy. There we go. And then I'm not sure if I want to use this yellow or not, but it is a yellow journal. I can cover it up so that it's not quite so bold, but I do have this bold bit in here. I kind of like the dainty look of it all. I don't know. Yeah, I think I might hold off on that. So that's signature number 2. So I switched out one of the papers. Let's fold the obvious ones first. So we are going to add some more to these signatures. I want to do some pretty layering in here. So we have from my Easter kit, I'll show you in just a second what I'm talking about here. So let's do a printable, a tea dyed. Let's mix it up a little. No, we don't want to mix it up too much. Where's that white guy? The plain paper. A printable, a tea dyed, printable, this paper, writing paper, that's upside down. We're going to trim that off, and our music sheet. So I would say we want some nice ruffly edge here. Get a rough idea. We'll do a back fold this way. little bit. And let's get a height on that one. Line it up at the top. I'm going to trim it there. Okay, so let's trim these. Oops. This guy. Let's mix that up a bit. We have ledger paper to add. That's this one. And I do have one of those envelopes. Do a tall envelope again. This time I think I'm going to go this way. A little different, and just keep it exactly the width that it is. Break that up. Okay, so we have the base. We have 3 signatures. So there's lots of room still to add all our fun things. Now from the Easter kit, I want to add some of this business here. This one. This one. These. So I definitely want to do some layering with these types. Here's an extra paper we could use. I like this one for layering, this one for layering. So I want to print something on the back of those. Might even use this one for layering. Even a couple of those. Maybe her. These are full sheets though. Yeah, that's okay if they're full sheets though, right? Just want to get some more neutrals into the mix. Okay, so let's start with that. Let me just print something on the back of these and I will be right back. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken these and just printed one of the more neutral patterns on the back. I would like to rip these just to give it a softer edge. So I'm going to go through, and without painstakingly taking you through each of these, what I want to show you, yeah, I should be able to get that with them, is going through the journal now and going through and adding layers to show layers. So for example, we can see some of the music patterns there, or part of the music notes there, and then I'll take this other neutral, and it's just real small, but just to get this kind of layering, this cascade look here. So that's what I'm going to do now, is I'm going to continue printing these neutral bits. I might print some of them more than once, but I want to add some visual interest by adding depth and dimension, with adding just simply by cascading your layers here a bit. This could use something very fun. So I think I will get some more of the florals out of that book. This would be a great one to layer with. So it'd be nice to move that up and then put something here. So let's see what's coming off the printer. Oh, this one's fun. And ink these, but for now this will be a nice one to layer. So pick your spot and then just simply wrap your paper. So now we've got some layering this way. Very nice. Okay, so this, like I said, could use a little something. I think I would like to trim off just the very top of that. So again, back to the beginning, and we'll ink all these up before we commit to anything. Okay, so see how this comes together. So we started out with just some basic printables and tea-dyed paper, basically, and a couple of things. Now we've added some visual interest by making pages different sizes. We have some nice layering in neutrals here. This needs something, and then we need something back here, but that's a nice grouping there. Nice. That against there. That looks good. I like that. Okay. So, coming along nicely. This could use something, but we could add something to the page and not necessarily have to add a full page, like a pocket with color. So I think we're good. And then on the back side of things, you're going to get, unless it's a small fold like this. Now I might end up sandwiching those in between something and gluing it on after, but the folds there for, this should be cut. The folds there for sewing. That's the important part. There we go. Wherever that ends up, like that. And it's kind of the same idea on the back of all of these. So we will definitely figure that out once it's assembled. That's a good place to put all your fold outs and flip outs, and maybe some of our hidden stuff. Okay, so that's the first signature. I'm pretty happy with that one. Okay, so we're going to call it a day here today. I'm going to continue with that, and then when we return, I will show you the pieces that I've added to these signatures. But go ahead and start practicing with, see, my angles are bad there. I'll have to fix that. With this kind of cascade look and different sizes, maybe pull a color from here to here. Just experiment a little bit. You're not committing to sewing anything yet, so it's okay to mix and match and give it a try. All right, give that a go and see where you're at, and we will get together again in the next video, and we will do more with our signatures, and then we will do that. We should be able to conclude our signatures, sew them to the part that's going to go into the book that will make the hidden spine. That's the secret part. And then we will cover up our inside and back cover. So we should be able to do all of that in the next video. So it looks like maybe a third video might be necessary for doing the pockets and tucks and hidden belly bands and hidden paper clips and such. So for now, we've got our cover. We've got a good start to our signature. So keep working on your signatures, and I will see you back in the next video. Bye.